divine revelation. It means whatsoever they heard from God, whatever God inspired them to say, that's what they said. Such was the Torah of Moses. Such was the commandments of Moses. Such was the books of Abraham. Such was the Psalms of David. Such was the gospel of Jesus Christ. And such was the Quran revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. We Muslims are also ordered by Almighty God to take a portion of our wealth. And in Islam, wealth has a definition. The definition of wealth is what remains after you fulfill your needs. So Islam has a legislative definition of wealth. So whatever wealth that a Muslim has in their house, in their bank, which is owned by them, that amount of wealth that is sustained over a period of a year, whether it be $1,500 or $15,000 or $150,000, whichever amount of excess property or wealth that a Muslim sustains for at least 1 year, within that year, the Muslim has to pay 2.5% of that as a charity. It's not much. It's a symbol. It's a gesture. It's a contribution. It's a reminder that you have been endowed by Almighty God with what you have, and there are others that you owe a part of that endowment to. It's called zakat. And so the Muslim has been ordered. This is not optional. It's mandatory to pay this 2.5%. The fourth pillar is fasting during the month of Ramadan. Now, the month of Ramadan is the 9th month of the lunar calendar. The lunar calendar. And in case you have a problem with that terminology, it means the calendar which is calculated by the movement of the moon as opposed to the movement of the earth around the sun. So we have commonly in the world today the Gregorian calendar, and we have the lunar calendar. And there is a difference between the two. In the course of a year, the lunar calendar is 10 days shorter than the Gregorian calendar. It's not just a matter of choice. It's a determination that came to us from God and from revelation. And in the 9th month of the lunar calendar, the Muslim has been ordered by Almighty God to fast. Now, fasting for us means abstaining from food and drink and sexual relationships. From the time of the light of the dawn until the setting of the sun. Not a long period of time, but a significant enough amount of time for the human being to learn discipline, self-control, and to develop a feeling of hunger and denial similar, not the same, but similar to other individuals throughout the earth who are fasting involuntarily. Now, this 9th month of the lunar calendar also coincides with the time that the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, 1424 years ago. It was in the month of Ramadan that the Quran was revealed, that the angel Gabriel came to the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, and said those words, read in the name of your Lord, recite in the name of your Lord. Those 5 verses that came to us that began the revelation of the Quran and then culminated over a period of 23 years. So when we fast in the month of Ramadan, we do so because we consider it to be an order, a mandate from God, and that it is also a means by which to teach us self-discipline, self-control, sacrifice, denial. And during that month, we are spending more time reading the Quran that was revealed during this month, memorizing the Quran that was revealed during that month, reflecting upon the Quran, and standing in prayer while that Quran is recited. This is the significance. There are many benefits for fasting. Many benefits. The people in the medical community can tell us. People in the psychological community can tell us. But that's not the reason why we fast. We're fasting because it's an order from God. And that fasting also is a discipline that all the prophets of Almighty God, they did. They exercised. The fifth pillar of Islam is performing the pilgrimage to Mecca. Mecca is a city in the Arabian Peninsula. A city that from time immemorial was known to be a sacred city. In other scriptures, it was referred to as Becca, or it was referred to as Paran in the Old Testament. A place where Abraham, the patriarch, our common father, the patriarch Abraham, a place where Abraham took his wife and his son by the order of Almighty God and settled them there in a desolate valley. And after some time, Abraham returned back to that desolate valley where he was ordered by God to leave his wife and son. And there in that desolate valley, Abraham built a building which is called the Kaaba. Kaaba in Arabic means cube. Kaaba means cube because it was a square-shaped building, a very simple building, a building maybe 18 feet, 20 feet high, and maybe 18 feet or 20 feet on each side. A simple building, not a building that God lives in, nor a sacred building itself, but something made of mud and stones, but a building that was ordered by Almighty God for Abraham to build and then go around it commemorating God. Not worshiping the building, but worshiping God, but setting up that building so that human beings would come from all over the earth and do what? Circumambulate around that building and praise Almighty God and call upon Him with forgiveness and mercy and repeat the oneness and the glory of Almighty God. This Kaaba, all Muslims repeating this tradition of Abraham, reliving this tradition of Abraham. Every Muslim from wherever they are, China or Russia or Africa or America or Australia or from South America or wherever Muslims are, they have been ordered once in their lives, if they are able to do so, to go to Mecca and to experience the universal fraternity and to experience the tradition of Abraham. These are the 5 pillars of Islam. And Islam is built upon these 5 pillars. And each of these 5 pillars form the basis for the Muslim discipline, the Muslim ideology, the Muslim's relationship with Almighty God, and the disciplines that begin to shape and form the spiritual structure of the human being. Included in our faith system is the belief in angels. We believe in angels. We believe that the angel Gabriel came to all the prophets of Almighty God, and that is the archangel of God. We believe that. We believe in all the divine scriptures. We believe that Almighty God, we believe that God would create human beings and that He would not leave human beings without inspiration, guidance, a manual, no more so than any one of you would set up a company and create some machinery and people that work on that machinery and then market that machinery and not send along with that machinery a manual.